Now it's time to compare the pros and cons of this Gamesir G7 wired controller. Now keep in mind this controller can also be switched between PC and Xbox just as seamlessly as you were using with the other controller. And probably one of the coolest things about this controller is that it actually has Hall effect triggers and joysticks. Basically that means the joysticks are made with magnets, so it's going to mitigate short and long-term stick drift, and then with the triggers it's going to make sure it responds a little bit quicker than maybe your normal Xbox One wireless controller. And probably one of the biggest pros about this controller is the fact that it has two back buttons to use as whatever you want. You can remap it to a key on your keyboard, or you can even remap it to a controller keybind on your controller. You can see here that it actually has a quick latch system, so if it's turned towards the inside, it's actually not going to press down. You're not going to hear that click as if you would, hear when you click a normal button or the normal side, and you're going to see right here. I know you heard that click, so that means basically when it's turned towards the outside, then it's going to make sure it's clicking and that button is working. Time for our next pro of this Gamesir controller was basically if you press this M button and press Y, it's going to switch profiles to that preset on the software, and it changes between M plus B, M plus A, M plus X. The software for this controller is called the Gamesir Nexus, which you can download straight from their website. You're going to see here that once we connect our controller, we're all going to be ready to go in 3, 2, 1, and we're in. Now, the software for this controller is much more customizable than your normal Xbox accessories app with the previous Xbox One wireless controller. And you know how I was talking about that M button plus Y? You're actually going to see here that we can change in between our profiles. I'm just kind of showing you it now when it's in the software. So we can make 4 different presets for our controller depending on the game, and we can easily switch in between directly through our controller. You don't even have to have the software open. You'll be able to mess around with vibration settings. You can mess around with trigger dead zones, joystick dead zones, and I'll even show you right now that if we go into our trigger dead zones, you can see up at the top as well how you can customize buttons, sticks, the triggers, vibrations. There's so much you can do with this controller when it comes to remapping and really adjusting how it feels, how it plays. And you can even see here that I have those back buttons actually keybinded towards my X and B buttons on the front of my controller. So I'm going to show you in a second. So whenever I press this back right button, you'll see B also activates at the same time I press it on this tester. Now if I wanted to do the left side, I don't know why it just backed me out like that, but let's go back in real quick into testing. You'll see here that when I press the left one, X also gets activated. Now you can really get specific with the vibration settings too, which is actually kind of cool to mess around with. Another thing to note is that this controller can be used on Xbox Series X, S, the original Xbox One, as well as Windows 10 and 11 on PC. Now, one thing I did totally forget to actually show you is that this faceplate is actually magnetic. So that whole front part of the controller that you can see that's mostly white, you can actually take that off without any prying, any tools. You can just peel it off from the top, and you can actually, say if you wanted to spray paint your controller, put some designs on it, or completely swap it out, you can do that as well. But now time for the moment you've been waiting for. The cons for this Gamesir controller in white. Honestly, it's just that it's wired. Because I like wireless controllers. That is the only con I have found to this date 6 months later.